Oklahoma fans thought they had seen it all when the Sooners escaped from Morgantown with a win after allowing 572 total yards to Tavon Austin. While that was chaos, this was Bedlam. The Cowboys came to town with a third-ranked offense in the nation, led by their third-string quarterback, looking for their third straight win and second straight over Oklahoma. Back in Norman for the first time in 3 years, Mike Gundy knew he would have his hands full in his 100th game as head coach. After all, he was 1-6 against Bob Stoops in Bedlam and 0-3 in Norman, his Cowboys having been outscored 118-31 on Owen Field. Meanwhile, the Sooners had won 6 straight games in conference. OSU quarterback Clint Shelf came out running early. He rushed 3 times for a ridiculous 52 yards on the Cowboys' 6-play, 55-yard scoring drive that was capped by a 1-yard Joseph Randall run. OSU led 7-0 midway through the first.
You know, they're a good team. They made a lot of plays. We made a lot of plays. It, felt good getting out there and running early and taking a few hits and just, kind of settling in.
But while Shelf was settling in, Landry Jones was struggling in his final home game. Here he gets sandwiched between Nigel Nicholas and Tyler Johnson. In the meantime, the ball floats into the hands of linebacker Lindell Johnson, who takes the interception back 46 yards all the way down to the 9.
We put a little pressure on him. Then he wanted the deep ball. Then he kind of stepped into it. Then he didn't want to take the sack, so he kind of tried to throw it in the dirt. But that was happened to be right there in the right place and went down the other side of the field.
It was Johnson's second pick of the year and the longest defensive return of the season for the Pokes. Joseph Randall does the rest, jumping in from 3 yards out for the score. OSU leads 14-0 with 5:26 remaining in the first. It was the 5th game this season that Randall has scored 2 or more touchdowns. Both teams added a field goal before the Sooners finally put something together, methodically moving down the field and capping the 8-play, 57-yard drive with the 14-yard touchdown pass from Landry Jones to fullback Trey Millard. Sooners had jumped back in it, trailing 17-10 with 7 minutes left in the first half. OSU was on its way right back on down the field when Shelf's pass bounced out of the hands of receiver Josh Stewart and straight into the waiting mitts of Aaron Colvin. It's the 4th interception by the junior corner this season. It leads to a 7-play, 81-yard drive and ultimately results in Landry Jones finding junior Jalen Saunders over the middle in the end zone for the 9-yard score. OU had pulled even 17-17 with 2:42 left before the break. Saunders had 10 catches for a game-high 162 yards receiving. But instead of sitting on the ball, OSU's orange-powered offense gets creative as Clint Shelf passes backwards to Joseph Randall, who in turn throws back to Shelf, who has a line of blockers that escorts him 36 yards down to the 16-yard line. See Joe run for the final 16 yards, including the 4-yard rush to pay dirt. Cowboys regained the lead 24-17 with only 1:23 left before the half. Randall ran the ball 21 times for 113 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's his 7th 100-yard game of the season. J-Ran moves up to number 4 on the OSU career rushing touchdown list with 40. So less than a minute and a half remaining before the break, but this was the half that would never end. Just as they did against Iowa State and Baylor, the Sooners refused to waste any time, driving 75 yards in only 1:15 and scoring on the ridiculous bobbling 15-yard touchdown catch by Kenny Stills. Finally, it's halftime, tied at 24. Stills had 9 catches for 103 yards. Add that to Justin Brown's 15 catches for 146 yards and Saunders' 162. You have the first time ever that OU has had 3 100-yard receivers in the same game. In the second half, the Cowboys wasted no time picking up where they left off. First play from scrimmage, Clint Shelf finds Josh Stewart streaking across the middle, and off the super sophomore goes. 75 yards to the promised land. OSU leads 31-24. Stewart delivered all day, catching 11 passes for 150 yards. Shelf was decent, completing 19 of 37 passes for 253 yards with the 1 TD and 1 interception. And while OSU would add another touchdown in the third, OU would settle for 2 field goals and trail by 8 before Jalen Jitterbug Saunders fields the quint-sharp punt, makes 2 cuts, and turns on the Jets. Sooners would add the 2-point conversion to tie the score at 38, 24 seconds into the fourth quarter. It was the first punt return touchdown of Jalen Saunders' career.
When I came back to the sideline after the punt return, everyone's excited. I feel like everybody was just jumping, ready to go get back onto the field, make a play.
But it was the Cowboys who made another play, adding a touchdown early in the fourth, and then time ticked away as the Sooners drove 87 yards in 17 plays, using up 6 minutes and 14 seconds. Still, with 10 seconds left, OU ran the ball as Blake Bell got on his belldozer and pushed his way into the end zone from 4 yards out with 4 seconds remaining. Did Big Blake Bell feel the pressure?
It's more excitement. Then, you're just, you don't really, you kind of zone out a little bit almost. All you're thinking about is getting in the end zone or getting the first down, so.
Down one, the Sooners kicked the extra point, and we head to overtime, tied at 45. After the Cowboys kicked a 26-yard field goal, the Sooners handed the ball to junior Brennan Clay, and he would not be denied. Clay finds a hole in the line, runs over Daquan Lowe, and gets past safety Shamil Gary to score on the 18-yard run and deliver a Bedlam victory to the Crimson and Cream, 51-48. OU never led in the game until the final play, and 48 points are the most ever scored by OSU in Bedlam. The rest of the statistics are mind-boggling. OU runs 103 plays and picks up 44 first downs, almost double OSU's 23, and the second most in NCAA history. The Sooners run for only 106 yards, but Landry Jones completes 46 of 71 passes for 500 yards and 3 touchdowns in his final game on Owen Field, as Oklahoma racks up 618 yards of total offense. The Sooners have given up 131 points in their last 3 games, but scored 143.
Fortunately, we were able to make, a few more plays there down the stretch to win it. Very proud of my team and my guys for hanging in there, working our way through a hard-fought game and coming up with the plays, in particular down through the fourth quarter to win the football game.
As a quarterback, as a leader, you always want to be. You don't want to be in those situations. You do want to blow people out, and you want to have all kinds of crazy success. But in those situations, you want to be the guy with the ball in your hands, and the coaches put it in our hands and in the offensive hands, and we were able to go down and make some plays.
We're strong. We're strong-willed, and we can face adversity. We go through any obstacle, and we know that this offense is very potent, and we can score from anywhere on the field. And you just got to be able to play 60 minutes. And in this case, we played a little bit more than that, and we came out with that victory.
We felt like if we could hold them in overtime that we were going to win the game, and that's how it played out. And we had some critical stops in the fourth quarter where they could have iced the game, and we just gave our offense another opportunity, and they were virtually unstoppable all night. So we knew if we can get them the ball back one more time, we'd have a great opportunity to put the game into overtime. And guys made some clutch plays, in the game. Just defensively, we just got to keep plugging away.
It wasn't crazy, we just went out there and gave it our all, and everybody played their hearts out. It's nobody's fault. We just got to play harder, I guess, and capitalize on their mistakes better.
Well, it is a heart wrencher, or gut wrencher, however you want to say it. Anytime you lose a game like this in overtime, it's awful is about the only word that can come to mind. I thought our offense has played so well. Unfortunately, OU's offense played so well also. We just didn't play as well as we needed to play to come up with the win.
The truth is, the better your program gets, the more success you have, the more highly regarded you are, the harder it is to lose. Get in a World Series, a Super Bowl, a state championship game, and you lose, and it's a crushing blow. The only reason it is because you've taken it to another level, and for the most part, this program's at a different level. So when you lose these games, it's harder on you. But ultimately, as for a team and for their coaching staff, it can't be. We have to get ready to play the next game.
So it's a gutsy effort, but a gut-wrenching loss for the Cowboys, who now try to finish off the season on a high note as OSU heads to Waco to take on dangerous Baylor. Meanwhile, the Sooners still have a chance at the Big 12 title, playing at formidable foe TCU while rooting for the Longhorns to beat Kansas State. Reporting from Owen Field in Norman, Damon Fontenot, News OK Sports.